So this whole other set of possibilities, we can't see. And we can't even be in, because we are literally not there. We are absent from the realities we want. And we are present in the realities we don't. And then we beat our chest and say, wow, oh, wow. But we get stuck, right? So beware the psychic traps. And even if you go through them, know that they're there. Because at least once you know, you can do something different. Even if you're not ready to do something different. Okay, because it is an option to continue to live in the reality of it. It's a free will universe. There is no limit to the amount of misery and suffering that we can inflict upon ourselves. So, here's the other thing about the status quo reality. The thing that keeps us there, for most of us, remember I'm not talking about the particulars of your life. It's just that we know it. It's familiar. It's familiar. It's familiar. And so because it's familiar, we think it's stable. That's a heck of an assumption, because it's not true. It is familiar, but it's not stable, because your existing reality is also changing. There is nothing that stays unchanged in life. Nothing. Remember, what's the first thing I said? Shift happens. Shift happens. So you say, well, I'm going to hold on to the familiar because I know it, and it's stable. And I'm telling you, that familiar, because the minute you realized that it didn't work for you anymore, it started dying. It started pulling in and in and in and in and in. And what's that mean? That means you start experiencing more suffering. It takes even greater amounts of effort to stay put. Because everything in you is trying to move forward. And you may be in resistance. I'm staying. Right? And it feels like there's a noose. And it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Right? And what happens is we start living lives that have resentment in them. We stop dreaming big things, looking for excellence. Immediately we should be settled for the mediocre. It's never quite comfortable with just the okie doke. You may be good at it, but if there's more to you, there's more to you. It doesn't go away. It just gets unexpressed. And when it's unexpressed, it's building up. It's creating stress. So you end up getting more stress. That is a destabilization of your status quo. When you're growing, you get stretched. When you're resisting change, you get stressed. So the status quo is not a steady state. It too is changing. And usually it changes in ways that make us more bitter. If we just only stick with it. When our conscious mind says, and we're almost done. There's still a couple of highlights. Everybody still with me? I'm just checking, okay? Because I know we've been at this for a little while. The other thing is that when we stay with the status quo long after it ceases being useful, not only do we feel more uncomfortable with it, but usually something happens. Remember I said life is colluding with our growth? That is, life is always working in some way to help us emerge into the grandest versions of ourselves. And it uses all sorts of experiences, even painful ones. It's the ultimate recycle. It wastes nothing. Life wastes nothing. So we sit up here resisting change, not sure we want to move forward. Even if we're not resisting change, we're like, I don't know, I'm indecisive, I'm not clear, I need some more, whatever, right? And then boom, something happens. Right? Because the universe is still working with you. Something happens. And it makes staying put even more difficult. Not impossible, because it's still a free will universe. But it becomes more challenging to stay in one spot. Because there are external forces now that are working to help us move. Also known as crisis at times. And it doesn't just have to be crisis. There's also great opportunity in other things. Right? We can also create the opportunities. But when we're stuck, usually it requires extraordinary pressure to move us. And extraordinary pressure almost always feels to us like a crisis. But you have to have a force powerful enough. Yes?
So it's almost the same way we can call into this desired reality, this experience is greater than anything we imagine. We can almost call to our crisis.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, am I saying that all crisis works on that level? No. I'm not. So there are crises that aren't working through those dynamics.
But if you're going through that stress and you stop drinking, you suddenly you're uncomfortable, and you don't know what to do with all that negative energy, eventually you will fall into some kind of, you're going to have a black cloud. Will keep cropping up for it.
It has an effect. It has an effect. Right? Your sugar goes up, your pressure goes up, all kinds of things. Next thing you know, you're on 7 different pills for 11 different things. You know, the man left you, the dog died, the neighbor, you know. Right? You are a force of nature. You are a force of nature. And when the force of you is feeling stopped up, held back, tied down, resentful, whatever, it has a consequence for everything else that's connected to you. Right? It's not just wind, rain, earth, fire. You are a force. And everything that's connected to you experiences you. And often it mirrors back to you what's going on with you. That's why they say birds of a feather flock together. Because consciousness seeks its own knowledge. So getting unstuck can invite crisis, right? But let's say we don't want to go down that path. Right? Nobody is saying, hey, let's get a crisis. I would like a little extra crisis, please. Right? Going on with the crisis I already had. Can I have some more help in the tragedy? Woo! Right? Very few of us have anything. We're not that crazy. Well, some of us are, but you know. Okay. So let's then find the positive state. What's the positive state that we can do? So getting unstuck requires us to turn our attention to the desired reality of the future. Getting unstuck requires us to give more attention to the desired reality or the ideal future than the existing steady state. Okay, so let me say that again. The magnets that pull us into the desired reality, the thing that turns the desired reality on, it helps us change the dial from 104.9 to 1,979.6 is our attention. So remember I said that there are all these realities that exist simultaneously, right? You just happen to focus on the one you're in. Those other ones exist, but how do we get them to turn on? To go from the off position to the on position. Our attention and our energy. Another way of saying energy is our effort. our attention, and our effort. Whatever we attend to, remember that we feed. We feed with our energy. If we're focused on it, we feed with our energy. And effort is an even more powerful magnetic force. Why? Because it's not only the focusing of our energy, but it attracts other people's attention and energy. Effort not only focuses our energy and attention, it attracts other people's attention and energy. That's why effort is a powerful magnet. And very powerful magnet. One of the most powerful magnets available to our species is what you do. Now this is important because a lot of us think it's what we say. It's what we say or what we think. What we say and what we think are powerful. They are magnets. But I'm saying the effort is an even more powerful magnet. And mind you, effort is connected to what we think. But work with it for a moment. Okay? So this may seem like it's common sense. But I can't overstate the importance of what I'm saying here for a moment. Because now we're getting into spirituality. That is, how does the unseen part of life work? Work with me here. The tipping point for moving out of the hallway, the tipping point is when you give more energy and attention to the healed future, desired reality, than you give to the status quo. That's what makes that thing emerge and bloom. That's what makes it emerge and bloom. There's nothing else. Right? There's no secret. There's no mystery. You don't have to shake a stick, do whatever, cross your eyes, dance in a circle, buy my book. You don't have to do any of that. This is so important. The tipping point. Because that desired reality, that healed future, will not emerge, will not push up, will not come forth from the invisible into the visible realms. As long as more of your energy is on the status quo. It simply doesn't have enough food. You are the food for the reality you want. Everything has to be fed. The reality you want is starving because it doesn't have enough energy. What's its source of food? Your attention, your effort. So we go, well, that reality can't be mine because the man is standing in the way, or my credit card is blah, 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 or my wife, or my kids, or my husband, or my all that. None of that's food for the reality. That reality can only be your reality if you give it what you have to give it. The most important thing you have to give in your life ever is your attention and your energy. So be careful. Be careful. So the reason that desired reality hasn't shown up yet, in its fullness, in its grandeur, it hasn't emerged, it hasn't started bearing fruit, it's because it's hungry. It literally doesn't have what it needs. Alright, so work with me for a moment. Take a look back at your status quo. Think of all the things you do to feed the status quo. What is it that you do to feed the status quo? Let's do an energy audit. Quick energy audit. Quick energy audit. What is it you do to feed the status quo? I bet you feed it every day. Yeah. So actually, you know what they do in there. It's such a pain, and I don't like none, and it becomes even more real, right? Because you got a million words around it. Words are wrappings of consciousness. Wrappings for consciousness.